Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a different type of episode of Dueling Book Commentary. We're actually in the ranked GOAT format here on Dueling Book. And so we have Matt Uber with 585 rating, 5,589 experience, taking on Beatdown Master number 1, so the first Beatdown Master, with 835 rating, 1384 experience. Now, I don't know how GOAT format affects your rating, if you get more or less, or if it's the exact same, based on, if you win in GOAT format. But we do see, just right off the rip, we do see Graceful Charity activated, drawing 3 cards, discarding a Giant Trunade, and back to square one. Is this card? I don't think this card's banned. I think it's just a Go format card. It doesn't look like it would be banned. We do see the Mystic Tomato Normal Summon. That was a very popular card as well during Go format. And the main reason I wanted to do this video is just to mix it up, change up, do a couple of different things. And I know a lot of people like GOAT format, as the Heavy Storm is ripped down for 1 immediately. Goodness gracious. And it was a Book of Moon. I don't know about that. And we also see Giant Trunade was discarded off of Graceful Charity. Now, this is not this format. Spells and Traps were very, very relevant back during Go format, but we do see the Reasoning come down. And this, I don't know, I thought Beatdown saw something that I didn't. So Beatdown's going to go ahead and call 8. We see Upstart, Ring of Destruction, both milled, but then we do see the Sangan come down. And this should be, this isn't. No, this is pre-errata. This looks pre-errata. Yeah, this is pre-errata Ring of Destruction. So that's pretty powerful. And then the Sangan is sent. By the way, it's pre-errata Sangan is sent off Monster Gate, and we see a lot of different things. And when we see the Injection Fairy Lady get summoned off of that 3 reasoning, goodness gracious, look at these cards: Premature Burial, Brain Control, Card Destruction, and we see Sangan add something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. It was probably Cyberstein. As we see the Cyberstein come down, paying 5,000 life points, bringing out Master of Oz, one of the OG cards. And we do see Tribe and Directed Virus is going to get milled because you don't have any life points left, really, to use her effect off the Monster Gate. And then we see Fusilier Dragon gets special summon. There was another card that's very similar that has like 3,000 attack instead of the 2,800. And the Snatch Steal is going to come down against the Mystic Tomato. That actually could just be game. Let's see, 42 plus 8 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 21 is, more than enough to attack for game. So that is an OTK, which is why he Heavy Stormed to start the turn. And so just the reasoning got a little sacky hitting the Sangan, but he did have reasoning into Monster Gate. But it's just, okay, so he reasonings, hits Sangan, Monster Gates to Sangan, searches, Cyberstein, gets Injection Fairy Lady. He had another Monster Gate in hand. I mean, his hand had to have been, he Graceful Charity, so that helped, but his hand had to have been like Heavy Storm, Reasoning, Monster Gate. And then like another card that he didn't use. I don't know, something like that. Like, he had a pretty bonkers hand. We don't know what he drew for turn, obviously, as well, but we will see Beatdown Master. So I went to Go format to not see crazy OTKs in the second turn of the duel, but we see a Go format-esque OTK using Snatch Steal and Cybersteining out Master of Oz. Now, obviously they do draw for turn because it is Go format, and I think it was 2014 when the very, very first player, the first turn player, doesn't draw for turn. So that's that first turn draw. Big thing of Go format. And then we see a classic T-set and pass. What's interesting too, I don't know if Book of Moon really changes what happens too. And then, what does this do? So Matt Uber's going to use Pot of Greed to draw 2 cards. And then Upstart Goblin to draw another card. And then we just see the Nobleman of Crossout. I don't know. He's gonna banish Dark Mimic level 1. He's just Beatdown Master is just trying to do his thing. That's actually gonna hurt. I feel like that hurts actually a little bit, as we do see Sacred Cranes. This is like a reasoning-esque deck that Matt Uber seems to be running. And this is definitely a dark deck, because this is the second dark monster that wants to not really be destroyed by battle, but is okay with being destroyed by battle. And we see this is just chaos. This is spirit. Return to the end. This monster can attack all opponents once each. Okay. That's cute. So we see another set, and he passes, and we see Scapegoat is activated. And you have to assume Metamorphosis is in the deck. And so the reason also, the reason why it's called GOAT format is because this was actually, Scapegoat was actually the best card, because there was so many different interactions. We see the Monster Gate tributing one of the Scapegoats, because yes, they cannot be tributed, but they can't be tributed for a tribute summon. Right, so Monster Gate's gonna get the Injection Fairy Lady, which is pretty solid. It has to, you have to pay life points, obviously, but it can deal a pretty decent amount of damage overall. And it is just gonna be tribute summoned for the Jinzo. I don't know if this was sided in, because there is siding that they have in the part of their rules. Do keep in mind though, Beatdown Master does run Book of Moon, and there are a lot of different crazy cards that can out this Jinzo in this format. And as he's flipped face down, 1500 defense for the Jinzo. I wish I remembered the spirit monster's name, but that's going to be very solid here, unless Matt Uber's Asura Priest. This is significantly easier to commentate, by the way. This is just a normal summon pass. Like, it's such an easier thing to commentate. But that is something to keep in mind too, though, as we see the goats erased and Asura Priest come back, and then the turn is declared over. It's all about tempo. So basically what tempo is, and this is pretty crazy, if you can bring back Jinzo, they have these two have a crazy interaction. But essentially, and as we see, Scapegoat does get activated on Beatdown Master's side. It's all about tempo. So your tempo basically means, like, if you're playing slow, it's showing that you don't really know what your turn is, and maybe you don't really know what you're going to do, and it kind of shows that you're not really super confident either in your hand or in what you're about to do. And it gives, as we do see the Metamorphis come down on the token, summoning the Thousand Eyes of Strict, and it does show your opponent, hey, I can do, like, I'm really good. Or actually, it shows your opponent you're not very good, excuse me. And it shows your opponent that they're in a great spot. So that's the importance of tempo, just moving at a relatively fast speed. I mean, obviously the importance of tempo now is because there's so many straight crazy combos that getting through 40 minutes is pretty easy. But we do see the Thousand Eyes Restrict take the Jinzo. For those who don't know, the interaction with Jinzo and Call of the Haunted, because it doesn't come up super often, because neither of these cards are ran super often. But the thing is if you have Heavy Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, Mystical Space Typhoon, the classic Twister card, look that up if you don't know what that is. If it's destroyed, Jinzo's not destroyed, right? Because Call of the Haunted says if this card, when this card is destroyed, when this card leaves the field, actually destroy that monster. But in actuality, Jinzo's negating that effect because he is negating trap cards. You can destroy the, you can't, because it used to be, because normally it's like Mystical Space Typhoon outs the monster summoned off of Call of the Haunted. Jinzo and other monsters that negate trap cards is not in that effect. But the Heavy Storm is going to come down, outing the Jinzo. This is like, the monsters can't change their battle positions, right? Yeah. So we're at a pretty interesting game stage. We do see there's actually 1,000 tribute summoned using Thunder Dragon. I just wanted to check here. So that does put a dark in the graveyard for Beatdown Master. So keep that in mind. That's pretty spicy, but we do see Reasoning come down. I think the best is still 4. I think 4 is definitely the best. He called 8, but I think 4 is still the best. I mean, obviously you don't want the Dark Magician of Chaos Priorata coming down, and it wouldn't have mattered either way, but I think 4 is definitely more likely to get hit. But when this card's discarded from the graveyard, it's a card from the hand to the graveyard, your opponent draw 2 cards. That's interesting. And we just see Brain Control be activated on the Thunder Dragon. And that's obviously, you know, it's not very powerful, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't tell him that. I wouldn't tell him if I have Demok in hand, because you're running another Reasoning, so you could hit Reasoning. Magic Jammer is activated, pitching the other Thunder Dragon. So this Thunder Dragon beatdown deck is really doing some work. I'd assume, I mean, it's not a Dark Mimic level 1, obviously, but I'd assume that this card is fairly relevant, as we do see Sacred Cane and Jinzo get banished for a Blackluster Soldier, and he's just going to come down in defense position to banish Sinister Serpent, which is super duper relevant. The importance of Sinister Serpent in this format, what's just going on? He does actually have the Dark Magician of Chaos. So that does actually come down. That's why he special summoned Jinzo. What does this card do? Okay, so he does draw 2 cards. And this is pre-errata Dark Magician of Chaos. Shout out to Dueling Book for getting the pre-errated version. So that's cool. But yeah, the reason why Sinister Serpent, who got banished, was so relevant is because you could pitch him off of Magic Jammer, yeah, but really like Graceful Charity as well. Just anything. There was a lot of cards in GOAT format, just back in the day, that had discarding costs, and so the fact that Sinister Serpent, every single standby phase, can just bring you, can just be discard fodder, was super strong back then. As we see the Graceful Charity get activated on Beatdown Master, who's not in a particularly great game state, but since we do see Blackluster Soldier sitting here in the graveyard, it does pose a good spot for Beatdown Master. I'd assume Matt Uber's running 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier, and Blackluster Soldier can be special summoned back out, but there's no dark monsters in the graveyard. So if he's going to do that, he's going to have to summon it with another effect. So you can't draw a Blackluster Soldier, and it's a good spot. And then we do see Chaos Sorcerer, as well as... I got this. Tuscayomi. This card is set to the graveyard, and this card, as well as Thunder Dragon, is banished for Blackluster Soldier. And so now he's going to normal summon Asura Priest. And he's going to attack with the Blackluster Suck. I was going to say, there's a lot of crazy things. That was a pretty ballsy attack into the Dark Magician of Chaos. We see Metamorphosis does get used. I assume to summon another 1,000 extra tricks. Why not? And that's going to go ahead and equip the the Dark Magician of Chaos. Unfortunately, Blackluster Soldier can't be flipped face back up. But there's probably a way to get rid of this 1,000 extra trick, assuming we do see Matt Uber T-set and pass. No cards in hand, so it's looking like Beatdown Masters starting to get into somewhat form of a control of this duel here. 1,000 Eyes Restrict is going to be sitting on 2,800 attack. That was a bluff, unfortunately, with the Cyber side. Reasoning gets activated again. I think this card, not this card. I think this card is for the confiscation. And there's like another one, duo. Yeah, that's unfortunate. He's summoned in defense position. I guess. Why was he summoned in defense position? Or does he have to be? Don't think so. I guess he doesn't. He can't really out 1,000 Eyes Restrict super well. Yeah, I forgot about this. He can. Somehow I managed to forget that if this card would be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead. We do see the Magic Jammer on the Hay Trunade, Giant Trunade. It's Giant. Hay's the new one. And then that is just scoop phase for Matt Uber. So 1,000 Eyes Restrict, really putting in the work, and that's why Go format is called the way that it is. You know, it is called what it is called because of the metamorphosis for the goats, giving you 1,000 Eyes Restrict, super duper powerful and strong with that. And I'm talking a lot about why cards are being ran and why certain cards and certain effects. There's probably a lot of people watching this video who understand GOAT format very well and don't really need the extra tutorial as well, along with the side commentary. But it's always good to just remember why they're drawing the 6 card and what does this card do. I don't. Okay. So we see Matt Uber draw 2 cards. But why bad cards are being ran. other than the fact that it's just old time. But Delinquent Duo does come down, paying 1,000. So that is why. So we know he's running the card that draws 2 off of this, and he pitches the Reasoning. Goodness gracious. Discard one more card of their choice. And the Sinister Serpent. Where's my snake? I feel that. So that's pretty solid. Not necessarily terrible though for Matt Uber. We know he has access to Monster Gate. We know he has access to Reasoning. And that's another cool thing too about Sinister Serpent, is that he can bring Sinister Serpent back and then just normal summon it and tribute it off of Monster Gate. So we see the Mystic Tomato come back out. Sinister Serpent's going to be added back to Matt Uber's hand. Reasoning comes down. Was that top decked? Calling 8 from Beatdown Master. Cyberstein comes out. In defense position. And then Graceful Charity is going to be activated. I think he's just trying to dig right now for either Metamorphoses or for Monster Gate, or just for spell and trap removal as well. But we do see that that was a really good Graceful Charity then. So Graceful Charity drawing 3 cards, pitching the Sinister Serpent, which is just a free resource anyway, and then the Call of the Haunted, bringing back the Dark Magician of Chaos, which is going to go ahead and bring back the Pot of Greed. Okay, so I think this card lets you draw 2 cards. But I'm not 100%. I think, though, because every time I've seen this card activated, he's drawn 2 cards. But anyway, we do see the Cyberstein come down, paying 5,000 life points. And remember, Matt Uber's deck is kind of built to OTK, and with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand, it's probably safe to assume he's going to be able to do that, as we see Ryu Senshi come down, just so he can make sure that this doesn't get activated. Could be a Book of Moon, though. You can negate that, obviously, as well. Monster Gate does get activated on the Cyberstein. Injection Fairy Lady off the rip. Kind of hate to see that. That's so bad. That's unfortunate, actually, for Matt Uber. She might just end up being more tribute fodder. He says he's got some form of lag. You hate to see it. But anyway, because he's taking a second to summon her back out. Unfortunately, Injection Fairy Lady needs at least 2,000 life points to activate her effect. So you can't kill him this turn with this board state. I'm thinking, because he reasoninged this, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, and so the Sacred Crane does come down. Yeah, because he reasoning that Cyberstein this, Call of the Haunted this, Monster Gated this, and then normal summoned the Sacred Crane. I think he's just trying to go for a lot of damage. The unfortunate thing is, because of Mystic Tomato's effect, it's gonna be pretty difficult to kill this thing, just going straight off the rip through all of that battle. We do see a Dark Monster and a Water Monster in the graveyard for Matt Uber, so no BLS, no Envoy of the End either. Hopefully we do get to see a Chaos Dragon. That's kind of like the whole point of the format. That and Scapegoat, but and Deep Mock. There's a lot of cards. Delinquent Duo, things like that. United We Stand does get activated. Put on the Injection Fairy Lady, because why not? So she's gonna go up to 8 times 4 is 32, is 3,600. So that's pretty cool. Still not. Megamorph is getting put on. That's decent. The Dark Magician of Chaos. Was this card super popular back then? I mean, I guess it's not like a bad card. As we do see Book of Moon come down on the Dark Magician of Chaos. That's going to get rid of the Megamorph. It's not like that great of a card. I feel like maybe. I don't know. There's pretty good equip spells from back then. Megamorph is not a terrible card. Not even in GOAT format. It is in regular Yu-Gi-Oh, but in GOAT format, it's not a terrible card. I'm still not like the biggest fan, but there are some cheeky OTKs you can do with Megamorph. It's kind of how the card's always been. As we do see the Mystic Tomato get destroyed by the Injection Fairy Lady. With United We Stand. I personally like United We Stand a lot better than Megamorph, and I think he does too. Maybe he's just running this as well as United We Stand. As we see the Mystic Tomato summons another Mystic Tomato. I don't like this artwork. I like the original Mystic Tomatoes artwork. This one's creepy. It's gross looking. Like, I mean, I understand that's the point, but still. We do see Senshi beat over the Mystic Tomato. Mystic Tomato, I'm assuming, is summoning another Mystic Tomato. Because whatever Mystic Tomato summons, Sacred Crane can destroy it. So there's not really a whole lot, that he could summon. Now, Matt Uber could pass here. And that would leave the Mystic Tomato up. Because now what you're doing, I mean, I think this gives him access to Cyberstein. I mean, obviously he can't play Cyberstein, but there's different things he can do there. It gives him access to Sangan as well. I think if I'm Matt Uber, I'm probably just passing there and not getting the extra 200 damage. Because I don't think the extra 200 damage is worth it there. Because now he has access to Sangan. We see he runs Metamorphoses. We haven't seen a Monster Gate yet, but we have seen him. I think we've seen him tribute summon for Demok, not for Jinzo. But I don't even know if we've seen him run Jinzo yet. But there's still a lot of very solid cards that Sangan can still search, whereas he doesn't have access to Sangan if you don't destroy it with Mystic Tomato. But it's not looking to be super relevant as the Dark Movement level 1 is used off Metamorphoses, and this only negates traps, right? But this is pretty beefy. This is also pretty beefy. And what's cool about taking this is that the United We Stand stays there. Unfortunately. So we are going to see Thousand Eyes Restrict Effects activate. Book of Moon is going to be chained to that. Flipping it back down and face down defense position is really, really good. That's really, really good. So it's looking like Matt Uber is a Heavy Storm or Harpy's Feather Duster away from winning this duel here. Just straight up outright. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Right, okay. And the cool thing about Sangan, this is Sangan Pre-Errata. So if Beatdown Master's running, I don't know if how old of cards Swift Scarecrow and Battle Fader are, but if he's running one of those cards, he can activate their effect during this turn. Like I said, I don't know how old those cards are. I don't know if those cards are available in GO format. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. So he just plays Brain Control and just takes the Sangan. And switch it to attack position. Sangan's going to attack, and that is going to be all that you wrote for this one. So we do see kind of like Reasoning OTK beat Go Metamorphis.dek here, and that was Matt Uber beating out Beatdown Master. Still hasn't scooped for some reason yet, but that's okay. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to click that like button and that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like the GOAT format? You want to see more GOAT format duels? Because Dueling Book has a pretty hefty amount of people that play GOAT format. So let me know if you guys want to see more GOAT format type duels here on YouTube. But most importantly of all, have a great day.